This is TWiT.
LastPass incident update. Yesterday, LastPass provided by far more detail about that second, more devastating attack that they suffered. And that's, of course, the one that inspired the Leaving LastPass podcast, and the one that followed that was just titled the numeral 1, when we found out that that's what iteration counts in some cases had been left at. And I have to admit that the forensics which were presented were impressive. This doesn't forgive them in any way from screwing up in the several other ways that we know they did. But as far as forensics examinations go, it's impressive. It's easy to tell a story in retrospect. But as I'm describing what they have determined actually happened, imagine figuring this out. That's, again, I said, as I said, it's impressive. So I have a link to the incident details. I'm not going to cover all of it because it goes into way more detail than we need. But what they wrote was, LastPass has now learned and explained to us, they said, to access the cloud-based storage resources, notably S3 buckets, which are protected with encryption, the threat actor needed to obtain AWS access keys and the LastPass-generated decryption keys. The encrypted cloud-based storage devices house backups of LastPass customer and encrypted vault data, right? And that's what got away from them. They wrote, as mentioned in the first incident summary, certain LastPass credentials stolen during the first attack were encrypted, and the threat actor did not have access to the decryption keys, which could only be retrieved from two locations. First, a segregated and secured implementation of an orchestration platform and key value store used to coordinate backups of LastPass development and production environments with various cloud-based storage resources. That's the first place where the keys were. Or a highly restricted set of shared folders in a LastPass password manager vault that are used by DevOps engineers to perform administrative duties in these environments. Okay, they said, due to the security controls protecting and securing the on-premises data center installations of LastPass production, the threat actor targeted one of the 4 DevOps engineers who had access to the decryption keys needed to access the cloud storage service. This was accomplished by targeting the DevOps engineer's home computer and exploiting a vulnerable third-party media software package which enabled remote code execution capability and allowed the threat actor to implant keylogger malware. The threat actor was able to capture the employee's master password as it was entered after the employee authenticated with multi-factor authentication and gain access to the DevOps engineer's LastPass corporate vault. The threat actor then exported the native corporate vault entries and content of shared folders, which contained encrypted secure notes with access and decryption keys needed to access the AWS S3 LastPass production backups, other cloud-based storage resources, and some related critical database backups. So yes, Leo, as you gasped, this was quite an attack. I mean,
and I saw a rumor that it was Plex, that it was a flaw, or they thought it might be a flaw in Plex, which this engineer had been running. So this was a very sophisticated attack. I mean, not just targeted, but they were rooting around in this guy's machine and able to find another flaw.
Yep. And of course, Plex is a media software package, so that tracks with that rumor that you heard.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was online because people often put their Plex servers on the public internet. So that's therein lies your problem, right?
So as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, wow, no one wants these guys on their tail.
No kidding.
Because,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so listen to the steps LastPass has since taken in an effort to recover from this attack.
Well, they should get Collide is the first thing they should do.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Remember how last week I was talking about how difficult it would be to ever be able to trust anything ever again?
Yeah.
So they wrote,
Zero trust.
As we progress through incident response and as part of our ongoing containment, eradication, and recovery activities related to the second incident, we have performed the following actions with additional work currently being accomplished in scoping and planning. In other words, they're not even done yet as of yesterday. So they said, with the assistance of Mandiant, we forensically imaged devices to investigate corporate and personal resources and gather evidence detailing potential threat actor activity. We assisted the DevOps engineer with hardening the security of their home network and personal resources. We enabled Microsoft's conditional access PIN matching multi-factor authentication using an upgrade to the Microsoft Authenticator application, which became generally available during the incident. We rotated critical and high privilege credentials that were known to be available to the threat actor. Well, okay, good. We continue to rotate. We continue to rotate the remaining lower priority items that pose no risk to our LastPass or our customers. Again, good. We began revoking and reissuing certificates obtained by the threat actor. We analyzed LastPass AWS 3 cloud storage resources and applied or started to apply additional S3 hardening measures. We put in place additional logging and alerting across the cloud storage environment with tighter IAM, that's identity and access management policies enforced. We deactivated prior development IAM users. In other words, that had not been done before. So good. We enabled a policy that prevents the creation and use of long-lived development IAM users in the new development environment. So that's good. They're changing policies and tightening security when they looked and realized, oh crap, we've got a bunch of ex development users who still have credentials here. Then they said we rotated existing production service IAM user keys, applied tighter IP restrictions, and configured policies to adhere to least privilege. We deleted obsolete service IAM users from the development and production environments. We're enabling IAM resource tagging enforcement on accounts for both users and roles with periodic reporting on non-compliant resources. We rotated critical SAML certificates used for internal and external services. We deleted obsolete/unused SAML certificates used for development services or third parties. And again, that hadn't been done previously. Good that they did it. Need to make that a policy. We revised our 24/7 threat detection and response coverage with additional managed and automated services enabled to facilitate appropriate escalation. And finally, we developed and enabled custom analytics that can detect ongoing abuse of AWS resources. So, okay, it's evident that things are way better now than they were before, which, that's always sort of been the double-edged sword of this is, do you trust better somebody who's learned from their mistake? There's obviously lots of, if I may use the term, learnings here. On the other hand, they were clearly doing some things wrong by policy, and that's difficult to forgive, and that's what finally, caused us en masse to leave LastPass.
Well, and also, do you want those 4 DevOps guys who have the keys to be able to bring those home? I guess you do now. This all because of COVID, probably, right?
Yeah, and it was probably VPNing in. One of the things I noticed that I commented on here in passing is they said, we rotated existing production service user keys, applied tighter IP restrictions. If they didn't have any, then Russia could have connected to their S3 buckets, right?
Right.
So it makes absolute sense to allow, first of all, the IP of somebody VPNing will be the same as the corporate IP network.
Right.
So if you weren't VPNing, your IP would be at home, but at least you'd be in the vicinity. So, again, there's the problem we've always had is this tendency not to want support calls, right? It's like, we don't want tech support calls. So, if we don't default to things being open, then we're going to get complaints when things don't work.
Right.
So we're still sort of in that mode. And also looking at this list of stuff, one of the bugaboos of evolution over time, and LastPass has been around for a long time, is that things tend to become more complicated over time.
Yeah.
This is usually driven by inevitably changing requirements. New systems are added to improve or to enable some new job, but the new system doesn't completely take over for the old one. So that older system needs to still stay around to do some of those few things that the newer system doesn't quite do the same. Then the requirements change again, and some customizations are required. Some glue code is created by somebody who then later quits and takes his notes and knowledge with him. Now no one wants to touch that weird box in the corner since no one's quite sure how it works. And that's the way this actually happens in the real world. And Leo, I've heard you at the beginning of some of the podcasts recently, like trying to figure out how to, I don't know what it is that's going on over there, but
oh boy, I don't either.
TWiT, and exactly. That's what happens is, so
I used to know how everything worked here. Now I know nothing.
Anyone who's been working within a complex environment with many players and constant time pressure where needs are dynamically changing will probably be able to relate to this sort of mess, that winds up evolving from what was originally a simple solution. And so my point is, in the context of security, this sort of creeping, evolving complexity makes both keeping things truly secure and recovering rapidly from an incident, if one happens, much more difficult. And it occurred to me that there really needs to be somebody who is assigned the task of stepping back from the day-to-day fray to take sort of a holistic view of an enterprise's systems and be constantly working to reintegrate the inherently disintegrating systems that just naturally form. Keeping things as simple as possible has tremendous benefits for an organization. And in a sufficiently large organization, I think it really ought to be a job title. There ought to be like a job title, like, I don't know, holistic system reintegrator or something, and he could like not shave and dress funny, and that, because that would sort of fit the title. But really, somebody who's working against these otherwise sort of natural forces of entropy, which tends to disintegrate things over time.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. 1/3 of information security jobs require a cybersecurity certification. While organizations are hungry for cybersecurity talent, the cyber skills gap grows daily. The